Hello, this is Sophie Lawson from Sophie Lawson. How cool is that? And this is episode 176 of the Sophie Art podcast, which is a little podcast that I do about the art and tings. And today it is raining, but I wanted to record this one outside. So I've just finished work, so I'm a bit out of breath. But this one I'm walking around the local park. There's a shopping trolley. I like it when you see abandoned shopping trolleys. Also, I like being out in the rain. Even though you get wet, there's something cool about it, I think. But I feel like this will be a little podcast. And it's actually, I'm going to be talking about determination. No, I'm not. I'm talking about discipline. But I feel like discipline is actually linked to desire and determination. The 3 Ds. 3 Ds. The double Ds, but it's the triple Ds. So I feel like, well, this is what I was just thinking. I like this as well. So I feel like if you're trying to do, little Dennis isn't with us today. Little Dennis is at home. Kitty wouldn't let him get wet. So unfortunately little Dennis isn't with us today. Little co-host. But what I was thinking was, if you want to achieve anything, like if you want to get better at drawing, or if you want to get better at something like a spiritual thing like lucid dreaming or something, I feel like you actually have to have discipline. I feel like it's probably I was thinking to myself, is it the main ingredients of success? Is it discipline? I feel like it might be. But I thought, this is what I just come up with as I was walking up the road. I thought, you've got, if you're trying to, let's say you want to become a professional artist, and it feels like an impossible thing. I feel like you need discipline, determination, and what's the other one? Desire. So I feel like the desire is what would get you on the, I imagine it as like a little path. You've got like a little path, and what it is desire is what will get you onto the path to start walking. And desires, I feel like desire is what, if you fell over while you're on the path, I feel like desire is what would get you to get back up and stuff. But I started thinking they're all sort of linked together really, because determination is, I imagine that is like you're on the path, when you're getting knackered, determination will keep you walking, so you're not going to stop. There's a little apple on the floor. And then the other one, what's the other one? Desire, determination. Oh, I had a really good little analogy, I suppose it is. Desire will get you on the path. Determination will keep you walking along the path. Discipline is going to keep you on the right path. So let's say you're walking down the path, and suddenly you have like six paths in front of you, like the path branches off. I feel like what would happen is discipline would stop you going down the wrong path. So it's like a way of keeping you focused. But then I also thought to myself, I thought, well, even if you take the wrong path, I sort of feel like all the paths would lead to the same end result. That's what I think. So I feel like you actually can't really take the wrong path. Because sometimes you do take a wrong turn, but you always end up, I feel like you always end up in the same place. That's another thing. Like, so in life, sometimes I'll make a decision, I think, oh, I don't know if I should have done that, but then a year later you look back and you realise it was the best thing you did. And you sort of end up doing the same thing you would have done if you had took the other decision, it's just you got there in a different way. But maybe discipline is a way of sort of not wasting. No, because I even say nothing's ever wasted. It's a way of using your time wisely, I suppose. Getting to the end, I want to say the quickest, but maybe it's most effective or something. But this is with everything. So, like my lucid dreaming practice, you need discipline. I've noticed that. Because I'm doing my lucid dreaming. If I haven't got the discipline, so the discipline in that is you've got to make sure you're getting enough sleep. So you need discipline. You do need discipline to make sure you get enough sleep. You need discipline to be mindful of your dreams so that you write them down when you wake up and stuff. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought everything in life is to do with discipline. I feel like this is what I think. I feel like the things I haven't achieved in life that I wanted to, I reckon it would go back to discipline if I really thought about it. I wasn't disciplined enough. And sometimes that discipline might be linked to like a fear or something. Yeah, so there's fear involved here as well. Like an example, I want to interview guests on the podcast. I've been saying that for probably a couple of years now, but the fear is stopping me. But if I was disciplined, I can do it. But I also have to overcome the fear. That's when I started realising it's almost like everything's linked together. It's quite cool. But I do feel like there are these little pillars to achieve things. So like on my whiteboard, one of them I feel like is tenacity, because you're going to come up against things that will, like setbacks. But I think if you've got tenacity, another one's adaptability, never giving up. So tenacity, you're never going to give up, but that's also linked in with adaptability. Because when stuff goes not the way you want it to, you've got to be adaptable. So you've also got to be open-minded to think outside the box, not be too like rigid. What's another one I've got on there? Fearlessness. Yeah, there's definitely a big part of this is fear. I feel like if you can become fearless, you can do anything. I love the sound of rain. There's a little park around here as well. Rain's brilliant, I think. The only time it's not cool is when you got to go to work. That's one of the worst things, that is, when you get to work and you're wet. I like this little park, it's quite cool. My mum calls it the Squirrel Park, because normally there's loads of squirrels in here. But I can't see any today. Wonder what squirrels do. Hey, conkers. Lumber conkers. And a little spider web. That's another thing I like when it's raining. You get to see the spider webs. Quite cool. So why I started thinking about discipline was, and my feet are getting wet now. Walking on the wet grass. I don't like wet feet. Oh, that means my shoes will start smelling. I guess I'll dry them properly. I started thinking about discipline because I started studying, and I realised, well, I feel like meditation's a really good thing for discipline. And writing. Again, writing's a good way to stay focused. A little seagull. I might give him my apple, I think. Let's see if he wants it. Yay! Look, they're all going to start fighting now. Look, little seagull's got apple. I wonder if he's going to enjoy that. Look, they're all going to... Oh yeah, you can watch this on YouTube at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson. So what I realised was, I feel like I'm quite a disciplined I can see mushrooms. I wonder if they're magic mushrooms. Is it mushrooms or fungus? Looks a bit like cauliflower. There's like cauliflower stuff on the trees here. I like the shapes of tree trunks when they've been sort of ripped out of the ground as well. Birds flying around. I've wrote down a few little things I wanted to talk about on this one. It's in my wallet, I'm going to have to get it out, I think. Our little seagull's still eating his apple. What did I write on my notes for this one? Another thing I think is the discipline is this podcast. Because the thing with discipline is, there will be days when, like this podcast, there are some times that I've sort of think, it hasn't happened that much really, eh? I've been quite surprised at that. But there are times when you sort of think, I can't be bothered today. But discipline means I still show up. But that's why I think, what I also noticed was sometimes the times when you think, I can't be bothered today, that's when you produce the best things. It's weird, that is. It's like, it reminds me of something my mum said as well. She said to somebody, sometimes, like if you're going out on a night out or something, sometimes you think, I can't be bothered. She said sometimes they're the best nights, the ones when you almost didn't go. There must be something in that. So in my little notes, which are getting wet, I've put meditation, staying still. So that's what I thought about meditation. Meditation teaches you the discipline of staying still, and it's a lot harder than you think to actually stay still. But I feel like that discipline, it starts to ripple through the rest of your life. It's quite cool, that is, because it's almost like you're sort of saying to yourself, I have got discipline. So when you try to do something else, you sort of know that you're disciplined. Something else I've put is don't itch an itch. So one of the things is, I love doing this, I especially love doing it when I'm meditating. So if I'm meditating, every so often I'll get an itch, and what I do is my little game is I'm not allowed to itch the itch, which that is, I've actually got an itch on my cheek at the minute, just as I started talking about it. But what it is it's very hard to not itch, but also very easy. It sounds a bit weird, but what I've noticed is if you don't itch that itch within the first sort of 20 seconds or something, it does get a bit more itchy, but at some point it disappears. The itch disappears. So it's almost like you don't have to itch the itch. But also I start thinking, well, what are itches? What is an itch? What's the purpose of an itch? Maybe we've got like little creatures crawling around on us or something, and their little feet are tickling us. What I also notice is if you don't itch it, you end up getting more itchies in other areas. It's almost like the itch starts to spread around your body or something. But in the end it'll go away. It's also like, I've just started doing, before bed I've started doing the Wim Hof breathing technique. And what you've got to do with that is, you have to basically not breathe for, is it a minute and a half? At the moment it's a minute and a half. It's the same sort of thing. There's a period at the start where you want to breathe. As soon as you don't breathe, all of a sudden you don't have to breathe anymore. It's almost like the initial bit is your mind is making you think you've got to breathe, and then when you don't, it's almost as if the mind says, you've realised you don't have to breathe, so it stops trying to make you breathe. It's the same. I've got another little thing I do. I haven't done this for quite a while actually. What I used to do was I would stare at something. So I normally did it when I was sitting in bed. I would just stare at an object in my room, and I got up to about, one time at band camp, I got up to about 15 minutes without blinking. And what's that? Well, I'm not going to say what happens, but for me some very strange things start happening. I don't want to say what happens because it might be different for everyone, but I will say one little thing. I don't know whether it is, but I feel like you start to see auras. I start to see like the aura of the object, and then I've also thought, is that actually seeing the object vibrating? Because everything is vibrating. What if that little aura that you see around the object, which it looks like a sort of a glow, what if that is actually the vibration? I've wondered that. But that's that. And then another thing I put is bed early, discipline. You really do need discipline for that. I put studying and sketching, so daily sketching. Again, you need discipline, and it's another one of those things where, like, sometimes I'll get my sketchbook out, and there'll be something that says, I want to sketch, but I don't get started with it. But what I've noticed is, if I just do one little squiggle, all of a sudden I'll get into it. It's almost like the initial thing of getting started on things is the hardest bit. So that maybe is like the ultimate thing of discipline. Maybe discipline is just the initial thing of getting started when your mind is trying to stop you. Yeah, maybe that's what discipline is. Something else I put here is video games. So I had a lifetime addiction to video games. I haven't played video games for ages now. I can't remember. There's still a little piece of me that would like to play them, but I know now that I could play a game and I wouldn't get addicted to it anymore. And that was like discipline. Again, it was another one of these mind things. I had to overcome the mind with that one. And also, that's the same sort of thing. When you prove to yourself you can do something like that, you sort of remember that for forever. So in the future, when you want to do something else, which might even be harder, because you've done that one, you feel like you can do anything. It's quite cool. So maybe my takeaway from this one is discipline is probably, I feel like discipline is one of the main things for achieving anything, but it's not the only thing. Yeah, there's like a bunch of things, but discipline is one of the things. That's quite cool, I like that. Also, I'm going to remember that, the 3 Ds. Discipline, desire and determination. Quite cool. I hope you enjoyed that one. Like I said, little Dennis wasn't with us today. I do miss him, little Dennis. But I hope you enjoyed that one. I've got on the YouTube, I've started doing my Procreate. I'm learning Procreate. It's a lot of fun so far. And I'm putting videos up every week. I'm actually putting them up on a Wednesday. So every Wednesday I'm putting up my Procreate videos. So what I do on those videos is I talk about what I've learnt, and what I'm noticing is working digitally on the iPad is so similar to traditional. I'm amazed at that. I feel like that's the best thing so far, is how the only thing I don't like about it is I'm still struggling to get comfortable with the iPad. I'm not quite sure how to hold it at the minute, because with a sketchbook you can just sit with it and you're only using one hand. With the iPad you've actually got to use both hands. So I haven't quite worked out how to sit with it yet. But that's basically that. I'm back by the shopping trolley. Here's a little thing. So I work in a shop. I work in a little like supermarket thing cleaning. These shopping trolleys, they're worth about 150 quid. How mad is that? So maybe they're worth like stealing, I think. Sell them on the black market. Set up a little supermarket, a shopping trolley shop. See, I'm tempted to wheel that thing. At the moment I'm on sort of like a hill. As a child, what I'd do is, that was brilliant. Me and my sister, we used to go, my mum and dad used to go shopping. Me and my sister would go in the park while they were in the shop. And we always used to get what they call shopping trolleys. What me and my sister used to do was, we actually got the shopping trolley onto a slide. How cool is that? So like we sat in the shopping trolley and went down the slide on it. I used to love that, pushing my sister. That's brilliant. What you do is my sister would get in the shopping trolley on the top of a hill and I'd push her and she'd be free falling. That's quite scary really, isn't it? But the things you do as children, but that's the thing, I feel like children are fearless. And then somehow we lose that as we grow older. It's a shame. It's quite weird. You sort of think about the things children do. It's amazing more children don't kill themselves. But I feel like, again, fearlessness is key here. I hope you enjoyed that though. This week's inspirational quote. I know what it'd be. This week's inspirational quote is going to be triple D's. Yeah, the triple D's. Desire, determination and discipline.